This week we're going to talk about postpartum depression, and bear with us through the video. It's going to be a little longer, and I apologize for that, but with postpartum depression, there's a lot of information.
Hey guys, it's Ashley.
And Haley. And we're the two drunk moms.
Hey, big stuff this week. Really
Huge
big stuff.
Yep, something that hits dearly to both of our hearts.
Yep.
Something we both went through, and I know struggled for both of us.
Yeah.
We are talking about postpartum depression.
I think, you hear people say the struggle is real, but literally that struggle is real.
It's so real.
And whether you're a first-time mom or you're trying to juggle a new baby with your other kids, various ages, trying to feel like you can be responsible for them and still nourish your baby while not sleeping, not getting any time for yourself, and
not nourishing your body correctly.
Right. Yeah, because it's just, you're like, oh shoot, I haven't eaten, it's 11, I'll grab a granola bar and a banana, but that's not going to help too if you're trying to breastfeed and
it's not going to help you get out of your funk, funk, I should say, because it's not, it's something that is true. That I mean, a lot of women, what was it? 3
million.
3 million
At
women
least 3 million
in the world.
According to Mayo Clinic, I want to cite my sources.
Yeah.
But it's something where not just Haley and I have gone through this, but we know so many people who have. And you might have to be on high alert if you are predispositioned to anxiety or depression. I struggled with seasonal affect disorder really bad. So concerns that maybe seasonal changes might make that worse or trigger it. And just in general, most people experience what they like to call baby blues.
Yeah, and baby blues and postpartum depression, completely different things.
Totally different.
I mean, it's your baby blues, everyone goes through it. Your hormones are at a spike.
Yeah.
But postpartum, it's when your hormones, they just don't level out. They just don't level out over time. And some things that I saw, like I posted something on Facebook, ladies, let me know about your postpartum. And the majority of people said they had it.
Yes. But something that I thought just really hit me, which was true for myself originally, is that nobody knew. They're like, oh my gosh, I am miserable. I just want to cry. I'm so anxious, or I'm not sleeping. I have no motivation. And it's like, what's wrong with me? And then of course there's all that pressure, right?
All the pressure of making sure the house is still clean, making sure dinners are on the table at 5, 6 o'clock, making sure other kids, if you have older kids, making sure they're taken care of and they're fed and they're well dressed and their hair is brushed. Like that's something.
So that's already so much work. And then now you're like, I can barely get out of bed.
And then you have this infant that cries every 2 to 3 hours because they're hungry.
Right.
And they poop, and the poop comes out of it's just.
Yeah. You have to cut their onesies out, and you're like, how many more times can I do this? And it's so normal. And I think it's time that it is consistently talked about. Because I had feedback from one of my really good friends who's expecting her first child, and she says she's been hearing about it, but now she's paranoid. So what are we doing wrong when we try to educate people about it?
Right.
Where's the disconnect?
I think since there's no known cause for postpartum, like they can't pin it down to a specific thing that has happened in your life or specific thing that has happened in your pregnancy or post-pregnancy to make it feel like, or to make it known that you're going to have postpartum depression. It's up in the air, people. It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, they can't say, well, you're going to have it, And I think something that when I was asking for feedback from friends that I thought was really interesting is that out of everybody that said they had it, people said either exercise or medication worked, or a combination of both. I think for our more active friends, probably if you can't beat it with your normal day-to-day, if you can keep up with your exercising, medication's probably a good thing for you.
See, and I was totally against medication. I've never really liked to take pills of any kind. Like,
yeah,
I just don't like to.
And don't you think there's this like underlying, oh, well, you have to take medication, you have problems. Well, yeah, my problem is that I'm friggin' depressed and I've got an infant and a family to manage, and I just want to sit in my room and cry all the time.
See, and I know something, like I said I don't like to take pills. I should say I don't like to take medication.
Sure.
I don't like to take prescribed pills that are like, oh, the doctor, this has a bunch of stuff in it that's going to make you feel better. Which I'm not saying it doesn't help. I know that helps for a lot of people. Yeah. I know it does. But for me personally, it's just something that I just never did want to do. And maybe it would have helped me more with medicine.
Yeah. I had really no postpartum depression with my first. I was 21 and I had a son that I placed for adoption. And so I went through a different kind of baby blues because I wasn't struggling with that bonding or anything like that. And, I had struggles within that, but nothing like postpartum depression. Then with my daughter, I had it really, really bad. But nobody really said anything until my mom was like, you're not okay. She didn't even ask if I was okay. She told me, I know you're not okay. Why don't you talk to your doctor about some postpartum issues? And then it was just like that light bulb. So then when I was getting ready to deliver my son, which was a very traumatic birth, I went on medication right away, took it for a couple months and did just fine and didn't need to continue. So
So
every pregnancy is different, and sometimes it's almost good to like preemptively say, well,
just to be safe, let's just do this because we don't want, no new mom should have to go through it. And it sucks that the majority of women do.
Right. It's like, we don't want anyone else to go through that because it's not fun, but most of you will.
Right. And I know like things that helped me with mine is I was exercising while I was pregnant. I was
You were good about that.
I was doing yoga. I was doing paleo. I was walking daily. I was, doing some cardio, not strenuous jumping around. I was doing very light cardio. I didn't overdo it with my body. And that was with my second daughter. And the pregnancy and the birth with her was phenomenal. I went to the chiropractor every week as well.
I've heard some girlfriends that said they did that and they really enjoyed it. And I've never been big on chiropractors, so I don't know that I ever would have even thought about that necessarily.
The other thing I did was I encapsulated my placenta. I told the doctor I wanted to take my placenta home. I know, she's so grossed out by it. I told the doctor I wanted to take my placenta home, and then I hired somebody to come out to the house the day after we got home from the hospital. And she went into my kitchen and she bleached my entire kitchen. Like, she made it food grade safe. My kitchen was sparkly. Good. Like, that was well worth it.
And then what you do, slap your placenta down on there?
And then she threw the placenta in the sink and she dug through it. It was really gross to watch. My mom was mortified. She's like, why do you do this? But then she boiled it. And then from the juices, she actually made a tea for me to drink.
This is the part where Ashley passes out.
But
hear her out.
Hear me out. It 100% worked. She dried it out and it stayed dried out 24 hours. She brought her own dehydrator and she cut it up and dehydrated it.
Because you're not going to borrow mine.
And then she grounded it up and she put it in capsules. And I think I had a pretty large placenta with Betsy. I think she said it was pretty large for what she's seen. And she does a lot of them in the Treasure Valley. And she ground it up and put it in capsules. And I took, 4 a day and then went down to 3 a day and then 2 a day. And it helped regulate my hormones. Because all of the hormones that are in your placenta, you lose. And they're just gone. So I put them back in my body and slowly decreased it instead of just being like, bam, you're done. So I think that helped a lot with me.
It could have, yeah.
And it increased my milk supply. Oh my God. I would sneeze and fill up a bottle of milk.
Well, that must be nice coming from the one that couldn't get mine to go.
Which
I wonder if, because when I had my son that I placed for adoption, they couldn't give you the injection anymore for, to keep your milk from coming in. Ice packs and Ace Wrap, baby. That's all I did. So I wonder if because that initial time, my body was trying to react to what you would do. And I was just like, nope.
See, I
don't know if that has anything to do with it or not.
It might have something to do with your body, like the way your brain connects to the rest of your body.
Yeah.
I mean,
I rejected it. I rejected a normal response in my body. So I wonder if maybe that was why then later on I was never able, my milk never fully came in and I had to supplement because my kids were starving. And I think that, you think about when you have these normal struggles of, pregnancy and post-pregnancy and, maybe you had a really hard pregnancy, bed rest and stuff. I had one like that, and then you're trying to make it all work later and just get through the normal things of, am I producing enough milk? If I'm not, how am I going to supplement? What kind of formula do I use?
Who's
you
going to
try
judge
and
me?
try, right? Who's going to be like, oh, you're not breastfeeding your baby?
Breastfeeding?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, you use that kind of formula? What do you mean you buy the Costco brand?
Right.
Because it's cheaper.
Right. Because my kid eats a lot and it's expensive.
Yeah.
So
who cares?
You tie in the fact that everybody's always watching you, making assumptions of how you're raising your child. And then if you've got serious postpartum depression, somebody can look at you the wrong way and now you're in tears. You're super angry. And you can't let it all go because it's hard enough to not have that mom guilt and be like, well, is something going to go wrong because I couldn't breastfeed my kid the whole time? I struggled with that and I pumped and I pumped and I pumped and I would sit there for hours and nothing was happening. And my husband was the one finally said, you're done. Yeah, we're getting the formula and we're going to do it again. And every kid and every pregnancy is different,
So different.
It's, my daughter was super sensitive stomach, so we had to get the sensitive Similac. That's all she could use. Oh, talk about expensive. My son wasn't picky. He just wanted to eat a lot. So
yeah, he did.
I went for the Kirkland brand, and thank goodness because it's,
you would have gone broke.
Right. And then at the time I was staying home, so I was trying to be so careful. And, I'm glad that I was able to preemptively curb any major things past the normal baby blues for me by going on medication, just knowing that I've already struggled with this and I still do struggle.
See, and I think some of the things that I read on it, I Googled postpartum depression and I just went through articles and articles and articles. And some of the things that I read said that you have a better chance of having postpartum depression if you have a previous case of depression or anxiety.
Yes.
And I know I did. I 100% did. High school was terrible for me. And then I went through an abusive time in my life, abusive relationship, something I just never want to talk about. Some things that people have dealt with that have helped them. I know I asked some of my friends on Facebook, and things that helped them was getting alone time, just getting a couple hours a month, if that, out by yourself. Yes. I mean, one person said she likes to go walking in the brisk air and just think and just gather her thoughts for everything,
right,
and just let it all go. I mean, you let it go in the mountain air and it's gone. Yeah. It's just gone. Counseling. I am all for counseling.
Me too.
You find yourself a good therapist and
seriously,
they are your best friend.
Yeah.
And I mean, friends are really good to talk to.
Sure.
They are. But not like a counselor is,
right,
because they're indifferent in their opinions.
Yeah.
So they're just
I think too sometimes, or I've had friends that I know are struggling with their own things too, and so I then, even if I'm venting, I'm still holding back because I don't want to overburden them.
Right. And you have to feel empathy.
Right.
You have to be empathetic towards other people. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong with the new moms. They see the new mom's struggling and they're like, oh, what am I going to do? And you see them turn around, go into a corner and cry, or go into the bathroom for a while and cry. Yeah. I know some people that just sit in the bathroom and just bawl their eyes out. I did it. Right? 100%. Yep. Just bawled my eyes out because my husband won't pick up his socks.
Right. I mean, that's super annoying.
It's annoying, but
it's not cry your eyes out. His
socks went next to the hamper and not in the hamper. Well, and so I would just bawl my eyes out because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why is it my fault? Let me figure out what I can do better. But it's no fault of your own. It's hard to get out of your own head. And I know people that deal with the postpartum depression and they get on a strict schedule. They're like, we are up at 6 o'clock on the dot. We're breakfast at 7 o'clock. We are out of the house by 7:30. We are like the strict schedule. Betsy, I'm like, I have got to, like, I was on the, I need to lose weight. I need to get my pre-body back. I need to do that. So I got a schedule of when I worked out, when I ate, what I ate, what the baby ate, when the baby ate, what foods we're starting them on, what, you know, exactly when I'm changing her diaper and allowing time for if she has a blowout between that. And I was scheduled down to the T.
Yeah. Which sometimes that extra structure is what you need. And I think as you, and if you're struggling with this right now, especially as you start to work through that, you know, what worked for us may not work for you, but definitely tap into your resources, because something that you don't want to happen is that extreme to where
you feel like you're going to harm yourself or the baby.
Yes. In fact, I'm going to pull it up. There was something interesting that I found with the Mayo Clinic about that, because it's so intense. And it's like, if you have literally like suicidal thoughts, or you feel like you could just, there are no moments where you're keeping it together, 110% reach out to whatever support group you have to help with your baby, your other kids, make sure your spouse is fed, whoever it is. And you need to go get help, because
and the spouse, I mean, they can feed themselves. They're grown.
Also, something interesting I found that, and I kind of feel bad for my husband. I'm like, oh, was I being insensitive the whole time? Is that it is possible for there to be postpartum depression in new fathers.
There is.
And I was reading this little blip about it, and the Mayo Clinic did say that it was typically more common in fathers that were a lot younger. And that also had struggled with anxiety and depression. But they also, because they kind of feed off of us a lot. And so whatever mood we're throwing out there, you know, when you spend so much time with somebody, you start to mimic their things, and the way they are affects you. It's so important to have that outlet, and somebody that you're not like, okay, well, it was my step parent that I talked to, and now I know they're going to tell my other parent, or I told my grandma and now she's scared for me, so she's going to say something to my dad. You know, it's hard when you need to have that really actually sincere 100% person to confide in. And that will not only just hear you out, but then say, okay, so I can tell that your consistent reaction is this. Let me give you suggestions on how to work through that.
Let's try to change that reaction
for postpartum moms. Because you literally just feel helpless because you can just barely keep it together and make sure your kids are okay. Or kid. You don't have to have multiples to be like, I am freaking out. Anyway, we wanted to, you know, we're kind of silly and funny and just ramble on sometimes about random. Whatever, you know, especially depending on
what day
if it's margarita day or not. But it kind of occurred to us that this is something that so many people don't talk about, don't know about, don't understand. And then everybody's afraid to ask.
Everyone's so afraid to ask.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, we should be supporting each other and building each other up, not making it to where you feel like you can't just even reach out and say, I do not know what's going on with my body, but I literally cannot stand it when this happens. And those feelings are stuff that it's all hormones and it's real, and you're going to go through that. And probably the person you finally bring it up to has been there. So how do we create this positive environment around it that supports and also doesn't, like my friend said, make me feel paranoid?
This is real. Your hormones are going to change. I mean, welcome to your monthly cycle. Your hormones change there. This is like 9 months without those hormones hitting you at once. And it's just like, it's hard, but you need to talk about it. You need to bring it up to your doctor.
You know, maybe some of your previous experience, were you really, really fit? Or you always really active? And then all of a sudden, because you've got this postpartum depression, you have no desire to do that. For some people, jumping right back on that wagon and working out is the ticket.
And it's, it is one of the hardest things to do.
Oh, yeah. But I know, like, for me, because my delivery with my son was, emergent. Now they're throwing scrubs at my husband and they're like, we got to take him out. And then they had to put me out. So then my husband couldn't go in. And it was horrible.
That sounds horrible.
And even if I thought my body would be fine again, no desire, none. I mean, my husband, like the pictures thereafter, even when we're finally, holding Sam and stuff, you can just see the stress. And he tells people that was the best, worst day of my life.
Yeah.
And it's scary. And so that was partly why we preemptively were like, I'm going on meds. I'm not going to question it. I wasn't really doing a lot of exercising at all. And I just knew it was the right thing to do. So I think it's just super important if you're struggling with this or you're concerned about maybe struggling with that, I would get your support system in place ahead of time.
Talk to your
physician.
Talk to your spouse.
Talk to your spouse.
Talk to your mother or father.
Yep.
Whoever your
in-laws.
is.
And
talk to your best friend.
System. I'm a little bit nervous about this. So can you help kind of be my accountability partner almost in watching for these things? Because sometimes when you go through that, you're not even necessarily realizing that things are that bad. You're just really emotional. But it could be that your best friend that you go out to lunch with once a week is like, listen, we had this talk, so don't be upset, but I think you need to talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
And that also can kind of, even though you might still get irritated, if you have that conversation ahead of time, that creates that safe place where you can just say, just remind me that I told you to tell me. We just really, really wanted to have some serious life discussions that aren't just like, oh, what did your kids do this week? That is annoying as shit.
Right.
Like, you know what? It's something we kind of wanted to do with our videos and our little Two Drunk Mom thing is that we're regular moms. We come from average households. We don't have people that do things for us or can do things for us.
And we don't want to pay anyone to do it because we don't make enough money.
Or we're just too cheap, I think it's important to throw yourself out there, and it's okay to be vulnerable a little bit when it comes to saying, I'm worried about having this, or I think I might have it. What do I do? Get those people that you trust and work through it there.
Yes.
And definitely, again, have the conversation with your physician.
Yes. And don't feel ashamed about the feelings you're having. Just don't feel ashamed about it.
Don't ever,
and don't stress about your house not being clean. Nobody cares.
Literally nobody cares. And if you have a friend that comes over and knows you just had a baby and they're like, because there's laundry on your couch and your floor might be
you can't be friends anymore.
You should probably tell them bye.
Yeah, just don't be friends with them anymore.
No. We'll be back next week.
Yes.
I'm not sure with what yet. We're not that organized yet.
We'll figure it out the day before we film. So share with us your stories, whether you had it, whether you didn't have it, or know somebody who had it, and if you helped them, and what things helped them, or refer this video to them and share it with them. I'd love to hear everything. I mean, it's something that I really want to put out, and I'm sure Ashley does too.
And everybody needs to be supported, and you need to know where to go for that support, what to ask for, and what to look for. But you can definitely hit us up on Instagram or Facebook. You can send us a DM on Instagram or a private message on Facebook.
They can email us at the2drunkmoms@gmail.com.
You sure can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sometimes some people feel better reaching out to a complete stranger before anybody else.
Right.
And that's totally fine. It's important to have that group that you can reach out to and, build your tribe. Make sure that you're okay so that you can be the best mommy that you can be. So we want everybody to feel empowered, feel aware, be aware, and maybe you're not ever going to be a mommy, but you have friends that are.
Yeah.
Be that support system and say, hey, I heard one time that this can be a thing and I'm noticing some changes. Are you okay? Like, what can I do to help you? Or I'm going to come over and snuggle the baby and then put the baby down and you're going to take a nap. Mm-hmm. And then when you wake up, your dishes might be done. Who knows? Yeah. Thanks for sticking it out, guys. We really wanted to touch on this. And, after the overwhelming responses we got from friends and on some online polls, we really felt like this is definitely an avenue that we wanted to bring out and We want people to just be okay. And to know that it's okay when you don't feel okay.
And if you are that person that's super independent and likes to do everything on your own, take the help. As somebody who does everything on their own, that never asks for help,
take it.
I took the help. I mean, Ashley's like, hey, I'm going to make you some food and bring it over. And normally I'd be like, no, I don't want it. No, I'm good. I can.
But she knew I wouldn't take no for her.
I knew that. And she made spaghetti and brought it over, and it was perfect because we threw it in the oven and I didn't have to cook, and it was in a container that I could just throw away, and we had paper plates. It was phenomenal, and that helped me so much, and I never did tell you how much I appreciate it.
I think you did.
But I'm telling you again.
Well, you're welcome. I'd do it again if you have another baby.
See what I did there?
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We are going to try to continue to be a little more interactive on social media platforms, because I know sometimes you don't always have time to catch a longer video, but you definitely want to keep that in mind. So you hit the Instagram and hit Facebook and just scroll while you have a few minutes. So we want to be a little more available in that aspect as well.
Make sure you, after you hit the subscribe, turn on your notifications, because I know some people that are subscribed, they're not getting our videos, and I think it's because they don't have the notifications turned on. So make sure you turn on the notifications if you don't want to miss any of this. And leave your comments. I wouldn't want to miss it. Leave us your comments. And like Ashley said, follow us on social media. And if you have any questions, you can email us at the2drunkmoms, the number 2, drunkmoms@gmail.com.
Yep.
I'll put a link to that in the description below as well.
Yep.
And you guys enjoy the rest of your week. And we love you so much. Thanks for joining us on this really heartfelt episode. I mean, this one I'm about to tear up because it's bringing back all my memories.
Yeah, it's a lot.
We'll see you next week again on
The Two Drunk Moms.